right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do something a little bit different. Today, I want to talk about 5 ways to invest in Bitcoin without actually having to buy a Bitcoin. So there's a lot of different ways to get exposure to Bitcoin. Some are very, very direct exposure without having to go onto a crypto exchange and get a wallet and buy Bitcoin and hold Bitcoin. So for a lot of investors, I know they're not comfortable with that. So I want to give 5 alternatives. If you're new to the channel or you have not yet subscribed, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Also, if you could smash the like button. And lastly, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member by hitting the join button on the YouTube page. It's right next to the subscribe button. If you don't see a join button, there should be a link in the pinned comment below. Members get a bunch of additional content, and we have a lot of fun. And like I said, it supports the channel. Okay, so right now I want to talk about 5 things you can invest in that will give you pretty much one-to-one direct access to Bitcoin without actually having to buy a Bitcoin. Okay, the first one is a company called MicroStrategy, stock ticker MSTR. At whatever broker you're using, you're going to be able to buy MicroStrategy. And so why does MicroStrategy have anything to do with Bitcoin? So I will show you. Okay, this is in their most recent operational update. They talk about their digital assets. The carrying value of MicroStrategy's digital assets, comprised of 132,500 Bitcoin, was $1.84 billion. So they hold 132,500 Bitcoin. That is by far the most of any publicly traded company, and I'm going to show you just how much they are in first place. Okay, so this is a recent list of companies that hold the most Bitcoin that are publicly traded. MicroStrategy, you're going to see, is at 132,000. You then have a few exchanges, Galaxy Digital and Voyager. They're at 40,000, and then it drops all the way down to 12,000. Tesla's at 10,000. There are a few Bitcoin mining companies that have between 8 and 10,000, but you can see MicroStrategy has by far more than any of these other companies. And the key to MicroStrategy is, while they do have another line of business that's unrelated to Bitcoin, they have gone all in on Bitcoin, and by amassing 132,500 Bitcoin, this is now pretty much a direct play on Bitcoin. So the upside of this, again, is if you're not comfortable in the cryptocurrency world, you can gain fairly direct exposure to Bitcoin by buying MicroStrategy stock. Some of the advantages to this, one advantage that jumps right out at me versus buying Bitcoin is, if you own the MicroStrategy stock, you can buy some put options to protect your investment. So that would be something that, you can't necessarily do with buying cryptocurrency directly. Okay, the second option is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. This is stock ticker GBTC. So this is over the counter. So depending on what broker you have, you may or may not have access to this. So that is one downside to it. There are several upsides to this. Number one, it's very liquid. You can see the volume of trading is high. Their average volume is 4 million shares a day. It's a very, very liquid asset. One of the benefits of buying this asset, this is called the GBTC discount. This is trading at a 46% discount to the actual Bitcoin that this company holds in trust. This is very nearly the lowest it's ever been. Over the last 6 months, it's hit lows of all time. If I go out to a 3-year chart or the 5-year chart, if we look at the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust on a 5-year chart, you're going to see that in 2019, 2020, and 2021, this actually traded at a premium. In other words, it was worth more than the Bitcoin that it held. That flipped in February of 2021, and since then, it's been trading at a deeper and deeper discount. Now, it is their plan. They have submitted and it's been rejected, but they are in the process of trying to convert this to an ETF. If they are successful in that endeavor, you're going to get a 46% markup right away because this is trading at a deep discount. This is by far the biggest discount this has ever traded at. Okay, so I said there's no such thing as a Bitcoin ETF. However, this is the closest thing. This is the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. So this is an ETF. However, this trades in Bitcoin futures. They do not actually hold Bitcoin itself. So if I go to their website, you're going to see the first thing at the top of the page in yellow. They have it. Please note, they have a big thing here. The fund invests primarily in Bitcoin futures and does not invest directly in physical Bitcoin. Please read the prospectus carefully before investing. So they want to make it crystal clear. They hold no Bitcoin. What they hold is Bitcoin futures. If I go down to a snapshot of their holdings, as of February 17th, 2023, you can see they were basically very close to 50-50 in Bitcoin futures that expire on March 31st and February 24th. So this is still not a straight Bitcoin ETF. The SEC has been very, very reluctant to okay a Bitcoin ETF. This is the closest thing to a Bitcoin ETF. And you'll see also this has a lot of trading volume. Their average daily trading volume is 7 million shares. So this is also a very highly liquid way to trade on the value of Bitcoin without actually having to go into the cryptocurrency world and buy Bitcoin itself. Okay, fourth, this is called the Valkyrie Bitcoin Miners ETF, stock ticker WGMI. This is traded on the NASDAQ. The first thing I'll point out is you'll see this has very low volume. So it does trade every day. It's not like it's illiquid, but it's much, much lower volume than a lot of the things that we've talked about up until now. You can see their assets are very, very small. WGMI is an actively managed ETF available through NASDAQ that invests in public companies in the Bitcoin mining industry. So now we're into Bitcoin mining. For those of you not familiar with Bitcoin mining, check out my probably 500 plus videos on this channel talking about Bitcoin mining and the Bitcoin miners. But those are companies that actually have computer power that are verifying the blockchain and getting rewarded with Bitcoin. So that is what a Bitcoin miner is. So if you don't have time to do your own due diligence and you don't feel comfortable putting your risk all in one Bitcoin mining company, this ETF will get you broader exposure. So if I look at their top holdings, again, this is of February 17th. DigiHost, $580,000 worth of DigiHost, $558,000 worth of CleanSpark. So these are Bitcoin miners. DigiHost mines Bitcoin. CleanSpark mines Bitcoin. $536,000 in Bitfarms. They mine Bitcoin. Riot, $493,000. Riot is the largest Bitcoin miner publicly traded by market cap. Hut 8 Hive Marathon is the second largest. So you can see they have an investment across the board in all the Bitcoin miners. So again, if you don't have the time to dig in and research these one by one, or if you don't want to concentrate your risk in just one Bitcoin miner, then this is an ETF that basically allows you to spread your risk across all the Bitcoin miners. Again, it's fairly new. The amount of assets they have are very small right now. The amount of volume that they trade per day is small, so this is something newer. This is one step removed. The other things we looked at either invest directly in Bitcoin or Bitcoin futures. So this is investing in Bitcoin miners, which leads me to the fifth thing. So the other thing you can do is actually directly invest in the Bitcoin miners. So if you're familiar to the channel, you know we do a deep dive on all these companies at great length, and we talk about them all the time. Another way to get exposure to Bitcoin, and this is really, in my opinion, a leveraged exposure to Bitcoin, is the Bitcoin miners, because they tend to react on a leveraged way in both directions. So if Bitcoin is going down, the Bitcoin miners tend to go down worse. If Bitcoin is running up in a bull market, the Bitcoin miners tend to run up even faster. So there is some more risk involved in these, and obviously there's a lot more time involved if you want to get yourself familiar with one or multiple of these companies versus the other ones, which were a little bit more generic. There's a lot of other companies that have Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and I'm going to go back to this list. So you're going to see a lot of people will talk about what's the best way to gain exposure to Bitcoin. You know, you've got Galaxy Digital, Voyager, Tesla. The thing, and I'm going to take Tesla, they have one of the largest stacks of Bitcoin out of every publicly traded company. However, it is just a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of their business. So investing in Tesla is not really a direct play on Bitcoin. It's a very indirect play. The same thing can be said of Galaxy Digital and Voyager. Those are crypto exchanges that deal in a lot of different things, so their Bitcoin holdings are not necessarily as important. Coinbase is the largest crypto exchange in the United States, and that is a publicly traded asset, so obviously they have some holdings as well. But companies like Block, they hold Bitcoin, but that is not their primary business at all, and it's an insignificant portion of their business. So this is what I like to tell people. You know, it depends how directly you want to invest in Bitcoin. In my opinion, investments like Tesla and Block, these are extremely indirect plays, almost to the point where you're really not even gaining exposure to Bitcoin, in my opinion. It's so immaterial to what the businesses themselves do, versus companies like MicroStrategy, which is now basically almost 100% Bitcoin holder. So that is their business model. And you can see they top this list by a mile with 132,500 Bitcoin. Obviously, of course, I'd be remiss not to say the fact that you can actually just buy Bitcoin directly. So some of these companies like Coinbase, for instance, which is on this list, you can set up an account on Coinbase and you can buy Bitcoin directly. that is a cryptocurrency exchange. A lot of people are not comfortable with that process, and that process is a big learning curve. There's a lot of different ways to do that, and you want to make sure if you own your coins, you're protecting your coins. So if you don't want to get wrapped up in the whole world of cryptocurrency, but you do want to participate in the potential upside to Bitcoin, this was 5 different investments that you can make through your normal brokerage that will allow you some very direct plays on Bitcoin, and some of which are actually leveraged plays on Bitcoin without having to risk your money. And I would caution people against getting into cryptocurrency exchanges where they're offering exorbitant leveraged plays, 20x, 50x, 100x, because that is the fastest path to losing absolutely all of your money. If you're an expert and you're doing that, then good for you. If you're not, I don't do that, and it is very, very dangerous. You can lose a lot of money very fast on that high amount of leverage. I do like the leverage nature of the Bitcoin miners, but it's much less risky. Having said that, those are still risky assets, and obviously the crypto world is in its infancy here, so we don't know which way this is going. I just wanted to present everybody some different opportunities to invest in Bitcoin. If you're on the sidelines, you want to get into this space and you're just not quite sure how. All 5 of these are legitimate ways to gain exposure to Bitcoin without actually having to go and buy it. So that's all I've got for you on this one. Again, I will do my weekend update of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners and talk about where we're at, because we're at some very exciting points right now. So if you're new to the channel or if you have not yet subscribed, please remember to subscribe and smash the like button. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.